Alright. So, a guy on Roll20 asked me earlier today, as for spells, how are you using macros for them? So, I'm going to show you how to build a spell macro database just by making one spell. So, the first thing you need to do is you go over here and you click on the collection tab. Okay. And then right here where it says macros, you click on add for a new macro. Okay, and then the next thing you're going to want to do is identify the spell that you want to make. In this case, I'm going to make the knock spell. Okay, so just find the spell, written somewhere on the internet. I use Purple Worm. It's fine to me. It doesn't have very many typos or anything, so I just use Purple Worm. It does have typos, but they're kind of rare. Okay, so first thing you do is you're going to want to copy all this text. So just put your mouse in here and hold Control and push A to select all the text, and Control C to copy. And then come back into your campaign. And then in this actions field, you're going to want to put the text in here. So you click in the actions field, hold Control, and click on V to paste all the text into here. Okay. And then we're not going to use all this text. We're going to do some technical writing to kind of limit how much text goes in here, because the spells for 2nd edition were not written very efficiently. And then the next step is you're going to want to give this macro a name. So I'm kind of an organized person, and what I've done is I have a system for naming my macros. Okay, so knock is a wizard spell, okay, and it's level 2, and it's just spelled K-N-O-C-K. So my system for this is I identify the class, so I put wizard and then space, and then anytime you put a space in here, it's going to put a dash automatically. So pay attention to that because you're going to need that information later. Okay, so wizard 2 space knock. Okay, and then real quick I'm just going to save this so that we have some kind of progress before we begin with the code. Okay, so I'm just going to save changes, and there it is. Boom, it's already in my collections tab. I just need to kind of edit it and make it look better, and do a little bit of technical writing so that the mechanics make more sense. A lot of the, like I said before, a lot of the 2nd edition spells are just nonsense. Okay, so the format I prefer is templates. So I use the standard like Roll20 AD&D 2nd edition character sheet template. So I'm just going to highlight the code that I need. Actually, I'm going to keep the word casts. Okay, I'm going to highlight all this code. I'm going to hold Control and push C to copy. Okay, I'm just going to close this one. I'm going to open up our Wizard 2 knock. Go all the way to the top, and right here before the the word knock, I'm just going to paste this in there. Okay, put a little space in there. All right, I'm going to keep that word alteration because that might be important. And I'm also in the title, I am going to keep this word reversible because you can wizard lock doors. Okay, so that's important to know. Okay, so that's going to be my title. The selected token's name is it's gonna say, for instance, like this character here, Wilwith. It'll say Wilwith cast knock alteration reversible. Okay, and I'm gonna put 2 close wavy brackets to close off the title. I'm gonna come in here to where it says range. I'm gonna bring it right up next to those wavy brackets, and I'm going to open up a new line. Okay, by doing that. And personally, in my game, I don't use yards, I use feet, because I use the standard 5-foot squares. for everything. So I'm just going to change this 60 yards into feet. So 60 yards into feet is, you just multiply by 3, so that's 180 feet. Okay, so I'm going to put bracket, bracket, 180, close bracket, feet in all caps. And what this does right here is it's going to make 180 show up in yellow. It's going to have a yellow rectangle around it. So it's going to really stand out and look good for my players. Okay, going to close that line, open a new one. Okay, we're going to need the components in there. So we've got verbal components. Okay, going to close that line, open a new one. Duration is special, and I hate when they do this because there usually is a duration. It's just that sometimes there's 2 different ways to use the spell. Okay, so I'm going to close that line, open a new one. Okay, I'm going to turn this one into a bracket, bracket, 1, bracket, bracket. Okay, so it stands out. Right. Close that line, open a new one. Area of effect 10 square feet per level. Okay, so here's where it gets a little complicated. Alright, so you need to know the level of the caster. Alright, and it's just a 10 square foot square per level, so it's like you're using building blocks or whatever for the area of effect. So that could get a bit complicated. We'll have to create a token for the area of effect of the spell, so that player will know how big of an area of effect that they can actually lock or knock. Okay, but that'll be in a different video. This one's just for the macro. Okay, so I'm going to use a little bit of code that I use for Fireball. The code is level dependent. So I cap my spells personally. Level 1 through 3 spells, I cap them at level 10. So this code is going to cap the caster's level at 10. And it's 10 square feet per level, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy over this. So, okay, so it's going to have a maximum of level 10. It's going to ask the casting level with a minimum level of 1, and it's going to keep the lowest one between the two. And then I'm going to want to multiply 10 square feet per level. Just going to want to multiply this by 10, I guess. So, I guess I could just do blocks of 10 square feet for the AoE. That would be a lot easier. So I'm just going to leave this like that. And I'll show you what this code actually does. So I'll paste it into chat here. Copy this code right here. So if I paste it into chat and then hit enter, it's going to ask me what's the casting level. So if I'm a level 11 wizard, it's going to cap me off at level 10, and it's going to spit out a number for how many 10 square foot blocks I can use for the area of effect. Okay, so it's going to be obviously a maximum of 10 because I've set the limit at 10. But that's just my house rules. I got that from the DM's option book. Most of the level 1 through 3 spells are capped off at level 10 anyways, like Fireball and Lightning Bolt. They do a maximum of 10d6 damage, which is a d6 per level. So I just kind of carried that principle into this. Okay, so I'm just gonna do 10. So I'm just gonna have 10. Whoops. I'll put 10 feet. Whoops. Feet by 10 feet squares. Okay, same thing as the way the book had it. I'm just doing a little bit of technical writing to translate it into Roll20. Okay, I'm going to end that line right there. Open a new one. Okay, there's no saving throw for this. That's good to know. Okay, close that line. Open a new one. The knock spell opens stuck, barred, locked, held, or wizard locked doors. It opens secret doors as well as locked or trick opening boxes or chests. It also loosens welds, shackles, or chains. Okay, so bindings and stuff. Welds, shackles, and chains. Yeah, just bindings. Okay, if used to open a wizard locked door, the spell does not remove the former spell, but simply suspends its functioning for one turn. Okay. In all other cases, it permanently opens locks or welds, although the former could be closed and locked again later. Okay. Does not raise barred gates or similar impediments, such as a portcullis, nor does it affect ropes, vines, and the like. Note that the effect is limited by the area. Third level wizard can cast a knock spell on a door of 30 square feet or less. For example, a standard 4 foot by 7 foot door. Okay. Each spell can undo up to 2 means, so it's like just the square footage of the door. That's what the area of effect is. So I need to go back and actually change that to see, times, whoops, times 10. Okay. Square foot door, etc. Because it could be sayings other than doors. Door, chains. Actually, I'm just going to put bindings, because that includes things like chains and shackles and stuff. And welds. Okay. So we're going to need to know that it only... If used to open a wizard locked door, the spell does not remove the former spell. Okay, so that's pretty much the only thing we need to know so far. So I'm just going to delete all the rest of this crap. Okay. But simply suspends its function for one turn. In all other cases, it permanently opens locks or welds. Okay, all of the former could be closed and locked again later. It does not raise barred gates, yada 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 yada. And then they go into the fucking area of effect again, so we don't need to use that. Each spell can undo 2 means of preventing egress through a portal. If a door is locked, barred, and held. Okay. So that is pretty cool, and we're going to need to know that. Okay, so I'll just delete all the rest of that crap we don't need to know. Okay. In all cases, the location of the door item must be known. Of course, that's general rules for spells. You have to be able to see your target. Duh, okay? The spell cannot be used against the wall in hopes of discovering a secret door. The reverse spell lock closes and locks the door or similar closure, provided there is a physical mechanism. It does not create a weld, but it locks physically operating lock mechanisms such as bars. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. Closes and locks the door, similar closure, provided there is a physical mechanism. Okay, we don't really need to know the rest of that stuff. That's DM interpretation stuff. So, alright. That's all the text we're going to need to know. Now, I can further limit this text by doing a little bit more technical writing, but I'm not going to because it'll just take too long. I want to limit the time of this video. Okay, so we have a spell here now, so I'm just going to save changes. Okay, and then go back into the Collections tab. and it was wizard 2 knock. Okay, so remember what I said before about W-2-knock, because this is important for how you add it to a character. Okay, so in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it to this character here, Calamar. Okay, so I'm just going to open Calamar's character sheet. I'm going to go to Attributes and Abilities. I'm going to add a new ability. Okay, and you click on this pencil. Actually, I'm going to click on Show as Token Action so that he can actually cast it. Okay, click on this token, or this pencil here. I'm going to name it Wizard -2 knock. So that part's not important. You can name it whatever you want. For example, I'll call it knock for now. Okay. Now in here, in order to for a character sheet to call this out of the collections tab, what you have to do is in the spell, you scroll down here and where it says visible to players, click in here, and you can either add individual players who actually have that spell, or you can click on all players so all players can see the knock spell, and if they get a henchman or something they can use it, then they can add it to the character sheet themselves. I just like to give it to all players, but if you want to be a little bit more strict on who can see your collections of spells, then you could put just one character at a time. But for this, I'm just going to do this. So save changes so all my players can see it. Now in here, what you do to call a macro from the Dungeon Master's database is the player has to have access to it, and we've just done that. Okay, so now what I do is I type in # or a hashtag, depending on what generation you are. Okay, and then you type W dash whatever the name of the spell was, 2 dash knock. Okay, that's all the code you need. It's going to pull it straight out of the campaign's collection tab, essentially. Okay, so I'm just going to check the box. Alright, and it closes it, so make sure it's as shown as a token action by clicking this. Okay, and then exit the character sheet. Now, deselect the token, okay, reselect, and now you're going to have, where is it? Knock. See, this is why I like to be organized. Okay, so knock. That's the name that I gave it just now. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to rename it just for the sake of organization. I'll show you what it does on the character sheet. So if I call it W-2-knock, what it does on the list of abilities, see how it's right here right now? So if I deselect, reselect, it's going to be over here. It's in alphabetical order. So symbols go first, and then I think it's numbers go second, and then letters. So the letter W is going to be, it's all just going to be in order. Okay. So now if I go into my chat tab, if I click on this W2 knock, it's going to ask me the casting level. Calamar is level, let's see, Calamar is multi-classed. Calamar is Thief 6, Mage 5. Okay, so if I go in here and I put Mage 5, submit. Okay, now there I have my spell. And this is kind of a wall of text, in my opinion. I'm going to need to go back in and do a little bit more technical writing and limit it to maybe half that space. Okay, but you can see what I mean by the 180 is in an orange rectangle. Calamar cast knock, alteration reversible. Okay, you remember me doing that at the beginning of the video. Casting time 1. I like to have all the numbers highlighted. That's just my personal opinion. It looks better, and I like high quality stuff for my players. I take a lot of pride in quality for the players. So, and then also having this database